Yo, what is up, guys? I don't want to be that cliche, YouTube intro dude that's gonna oversell something that in the end you might not think is really that cool. But I also don't want to undersell this. I want to give it the credit it's due. My friend Blondie actually helped me come up with this build. He created basically the groundwork for it, and then we added onto it together. And it's really the a first time that we get that Hunter PvE endgame build that's kind of broken, besides that invis medic roll that typically is handed our way. Alright, so getting into the inventory and just going over the basics of what we got. Also ignore the stats. This is a work in progress build. Alright, but first we gotta go over the aspects. Stylus Executioner. So defeating weakened and suppressed enemies is going to give you invisibility and true sight, which is one of the focal points of this build. Being able to get a kill with that glaive, go invis, and then obviously vanishing step, we want that. We just want to be able to, dodge, get invis just for those moments where the glaive kill actually doesn't give you the invis, which is few and far between. It's akin to dying in a well, something like that. Doesn't happen very often at all. And if it does, you know, you just got super unlucky and, just move on, retry the encounter. So after going over the aspects, gotta look at the fragments. First one, Echo of Remnants. Lingering grenade effects have increased duration, which is going to be really nice for the Void Wall, which is going to be the focus of this specific build, although you can switch that up and go with whatever you want. And then Echo of Undermining, your Void grenades will weaken targets, give you that damage buff essentially. Echo of Persistence, void buffs applied to you, invisibility is the key here, have increased duration, which is really going to help for that survivability. And then we have Echo of Leeching. Melee final blows trigger health regeneration for you and nearby allies, which is going to proc from that glaive RB attack if you're on controller. Otherwise, PC, whatever you have that binded to. Speaking of health, invis, and survivability, so I'm going to go with the 6 Coyote for this build specifically, get those two dodge charges. Basically went with that because Graviton Forfeit did some testing. Besides giving you increased invis on the dodge, it doesn't really help for the invis that you get from the kills with the glaive. So I did some testing with other exotics too for the hunter and kind of landed on this one. It's most accessible to people. Usually have it, gives you the second dodge, go invis a lot more whenever your glaive doesn't proc that invis, and overall just the best I think. And then you're obviously going to want the marksman dodge. You just want to cut down on the cooldown of that dodge, have it up at all times if you can. Dodge doesn't matter, only got the one snare bomb, nothing else you can choose. I'm going with Void Ball just because your discipline is going to be really low and it's the best one besides Spike, because Spike has a faster cooldown, but it's a lot harder to hit enemies and get that consistently to proc with your Echo of Undermining, which is going to weaken enemies. So that's why I personally chose Void Wall. Just throw that down at their feet, hit them with it. You got the increased duration, weaken them, get all those benefits. And then we are going to move over to the cloak, where a bulk of your mods are going to go. So the first one, Suppressing Glaive. Obviously going to need this one. Damaging combatants, whether it be with the right bumper attack or the right trigger attack. Obviously if you're on controller, damaging combatants is going to suppress those enemies. Basically going to give them the grenade launcher blinding effect, and they're just going to stand there and you can beat up on them. And then Suppression Mastery. Suppression effects have an increased duration, which is going to be really nice. Synergize super well with that. Energy Vampirism is not as important, but is pretty nice because your grenade is usually going to be the ability that's going to be the lowest, so you're going to be benefiting and giving it to that, especially since we have the 6 Coyote on. The mod that I don't currently have unlocked is Volatile Flow, which is just going to give your void weapons volatile rounds after picking up that well that you got on the ground. And then besides that, yeah, you can just swap it up depending on which one you feel is more important. Like I said, this build is not fully optimized, and there's definitely some wiggle room for you to go in and mess with some stuff. Alrighty then, we'll move on to the next mod that we're going to work into this build. You don't have to have any sort of elemental energy affinity on your armor, just Font of Might. Picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that same element type, which is going to be really nice for bumping up that damage. And of course, we're going to have Night Stalker on, so that's going to be Void, which plays into the next mod, Reaping Wellmaker. After activating your class ability, your next weapon final blow on a combatant spawns a Void Elemental Well. Since we have those 2 dodges, we have that Invis that's going to help us get that weapon final blow, and it's going to guarantee that Void Elemental Well is going to drop for us. And then that is going to pair really well with the next one that I threw on my helmet, just because my armor element affinity is not super optimized right now. Well of Tenacity. Picking up a Void Elemental Well reduces the damage that you take from combatants for a short period of time, which is going to be really nice for, again, just playing into that survivability aspect. You can definitely go ahead and optimize your armor a little bit better. This is just my PvP build for stuff, so it's not super well optimized. Obviously, you'd want to have like another Void piece of armor and throw on a protective light onto that and just make yourself even a little bit bulkier, which is going to be super nice for, again, using this build in PvE. And then, of course, you're going to want that Glaive Scavenger. Don't currently have it on. Just didn't work out all the kinks for this video, but definitely going to want that on because you're going to be suppressing big boy targets, those chunky boys, in the harder endgame content. You're going to want that Glaive Scavenger so that you can always be full on that armor and be able to suppress an enemy from far away. And then on the Glaive, again, not super optimized, haven't reshaped this, but you can actually throw on Subsistence, which is not going to work with the right bumper attack, the close range, but it will work with the longer range attack if the time comes when you actually need to do that, which is really nice. And then you can also put on Rampage. Obviously, kill clip not the best, haven't reshaped it, but Rampage is going to be nice. You get that kill and you get, yet again, another bonus to the weapon damage. Also, just a quick note before I let the footage roll from my first mission with the Legendary campaign. If you get rushed by enemies, don't get flustered. If there's more than 3, you probably want to dodge, go invis, get out of there, regen some health, reapproach the situation. But if there's 3 and there's not going to do very much melee damage to you and they're not that much of a threat, don't get flustered. You want to hit each one of them, suppress them, and then go back to the first one that you suppressed, kill him, kill the next, so on. Kill them in the order in which they're going to run out of suppression. But it does last quite a while with the mods in the entire build, so you don't have to worry too much. And then also a strategy just for tackling like a difficult room is you just want to use your invis, use that to your advantage, take the room slow, kill the trash ads in the room, and then typically there's only going to be like 1 or 2, maybe 3 like big enemies left with a bunch of health, and then your suppression lasts long enough that you can just shoot all of them from afar and then go in for them and beat them up, and then it'll work really well, and it's going to be super awesome if you happen to main hunter or even switch over, mess around with this build, and do some crazy stuff in PvE. And with that being said, guys, that is basically going to be the end of the video, unless you want to stick around and care to see the way that I approached the enemies in the solo legendary campaign. Besides that, if you like the content, you like the build, you like the personality, like and subscribe on YouTube. I make content as quickly as I can. I stream on YouTube occasionally, and I stream on Twitch. Just started doing that, trying to hit affiliate ship. So if you want to, I'll link that in the description. That would be a big help, but go as far as you want to. Besides that, peace out.
Okay, got it. We need fuel, power, and projectile control. You'll be the projectile.